In this video, this is going to be the advanced breakdown for that formula that I did, having Guardian Cell, Absolute Glare, Factor, and Crack 5. If you haven't seen that footage for it, above my header in the description. And once again, this is going to be advanced stuff. If you don't know much about certain things, look in the description for those specific videos. The one that says like these are videos you need to watch so you can understand this, because I'm not going to explain every little thing, especially when it comes to making Crack 5 or making Mana, Astral, Factor. Hopefully you guys seen those videos explaining that breakdown. But yeah, this thing was a monster for me to go through, and I thought I fucked up in part 1, but thank God I didn't, because I can still do what I need to do. It's just that this was a lot of manipulation, to the point where it's like, you need to make sure you're on point with this, or if you mess up and you fucked up somewhere, then you have extra materials that you didn't really need. So, the endgame formula, I already have some of it prepped and ready. I will do a bit of configuration later on and explaining some other things, or like actually show you guys physically how to go about it. But yeah, this is what I was trying to aim for: Guardian Soul, Factor, Absolute Glare, and Crack 5. This is the percentage I was dealing with when I was doing those final fixes. You can see it in part 3 of that video playlist for Guardian Soul. If you plan to make this, there will be an Affix week soon over here in Japanese PSO2. It's going to kick off, or it's going to start on September 23rd, 2020. If you want to try to make this thing, do it with the 15%, because 15% is the highest percent that is currently in game. With a 15%, these percentages, like if I don't use anything, I used just the 40% to get this to succeed. Everything worked. Well, you can see 3 of them are borderline close to 50%. Only one of them was like at 82%, but even then, the percentages weren't in my favor. So if you had something like this with a 50%, guess what? It's a lot better. You can obviously use a 45 and it increased drastically. So I advise you to do it on the Affix week. I know better, but look, if I'm said I'm going to do something, if I'm going to make a Guardian Soul on day 1, I will make a Guardian Soul day 1. But this is the final fix that you are aiming for. So let me explain how to get these particular fodder pieces. I'll talk about fodder 1 later, because that's the hard one you have to have already made. And some other things, if you haven't made it fully, then you'll have a fucking headache. But pretty much, it's kind of piggybacks on that one video talking about how to make Astral Soul, Factor, and Mana Rev together. But with this one, I decided to delete Mana Rev because I needed to keep Astral Soul and Factor, and I had to use another Soul Receptor, Factor Receptor to do this process. And I had to make another Mana Rev within my formula. So you'll have to figure out what you need to do. And there will be an easier formula to talk about how to actually approach a Guardian Soul in a separate video. But this is the formula that I was dealing with, or like I had to tamper with, and like make sure that I had to do this and this, or else I fuck it up. Or like if I don't plan it accordingly, then I'll screw myself over and shoot myself in the foot. There are a couple of mistakes, or I noticed that when it comes to me doing this final fix, I made a couple mistakes here and there. But yeah. So depending on what you want to see, if you want an explanation for like the base, fodder 1, fodder 2, fodder 3, fodder 4, fodder 5, you will see those time skips in the description. But let us get started. This is the final fix that you're going for, but to get fodder 1, you will need to actually know how to make photonic glare and the glare catalyst. I did make a video talking about how to go about making absolute glare. You can see that in the description. I just realized I could have made it easier and just have like a video talk about glares overall. Then you would know a bit more about absolute glare. But when it comes to getting photonic glare, which you need, so then you can go for absolute glare. Photonic glare is a breakdown of Varuna, Shiva, Origin, and Metra. You need these, preferably at a 3 slot or higher. So once you do that, you have a chance to make photonic glare. Now, you will then use that photonic glare and try to get the other materials you need, so you can try to make a glare catalyst. So you need Anga, or there's a couple of glares you could go for. You can either go for Anga or the Dominius. It depends on which one you want to go for. And then you need these 3 for sure: Exocor, Fordorsa, Vlog. You need these 3. And you need 1 of Anga or the Dominius one. And then you will try to risk, well, I would personally risk with this just because, 1, I'm already dealing with a bad percentage with the glare catalyst, so why not just use one photonic glare to see if it works overall? Because if I increase my chances with photonic glare, you can use the two photonic glares to increase your chances. The problem is, if this succeeds and this fails, then I'm stuck with like a 2-slot photonic glare. When I was trying to get photonic glare with a glare catalyst. Now, you could gamble with that 2-slot to affix into a 3-slot photonic glare and glare catalyst. That's ultimately up to you though, and it depends on how you want to approach it. For me, I was just doing this sort of gamble right here, trying to get photonic glare and glare catalyst together out of 3 slots. I was using a 40%, so I was dealing with like 70, 50, 100. Once again, Affix week will boost that drastically by a good 15%. But that's how you make the base fodder. We'll skip fodder 1. Let us talk about fodder 2. Now, fodder 2, this requires the knowledge on making this glare catalyst and then also the mana rev in itself. Once again, this was like kind of my slight mistake here, but at the same time, it's like I gotta do what I gotta do. So, if you had like something like Astral at the factor mana rev already, or maybe like, yeah, if you have those 3 already, you wouldn't need to actually separate them. But in my video, I did that mistake, or I had to improvise because I realized like stuff wasn't going correctly. So it cost a bit extra for me to do it. Don't do that. But since I had to redo that, this is what I had to do. Pretty much, I had to get all these glares somewhere in my formula. So the one that I had to manipulate were the ones that didn't really need... Yeah, the ones I had to manipulate, like, I had to get multiple glares to put onto these reveries that I might need to gamble on. So... like, I would have something like this. And to get, like, a double reverie and extra together, I would also need to go to another affix, which is me just having double revs with an extra at whatever slot number. Since I'm working with 3 slot, it's 3 slot or higher. Type that in wrong. No, that's the wrong one. So I had something like this, and if it was at a 3 slot, then all I had to do is like gamble with these 2. Now it changed the percentage just because, like, you know, it's not at the 2 slot, but the point was I need to combine them and try to get this particular piece over here. Now it would be easier to do with persona compared to double, just because you can get a lot of personas. Oh, that's why it didn't work. So, oh wait, no. This was like you getting at least one glare. Yeah, one glare onto a catalyst. And then you would then... what is it? You'll have these glares of catalysts, and then you try to finalize the mana rift, but then you start to risk for that glare catalyst. The thing is, you want this to succeed. You will need to do some other things here and there. Because if you don't get the glare catalyst to succeed with that mana rev, you're kind of stuck with a finalized mana rev. Obviously, you can use it if you were trying to make a 2-slot Guardian Soul only. And you can work with a low Guardian Soul slot and then work your way upwards. It's just that, yeah, your goal for this Final Affix is to just have it with your glare catalyst. Improv when you need to improv. Like how I did when I did my little screw up in part 1. But that's how you make fodder 2. Pretty much it's you... what is it? Yeah, you go into this step, which is trying to get all the different reveries, but you would want to have at least one glare somewhere. And like you can't have this glare separate by itself, sadly. So you're going to have to shove it on one of these different reveries. If you put it on the persona, it would be the easiest one. And then you have another glare there. You're using all 6 of these fodder spots, and then you're trying to get like reverie catalyst and a glare. You repeat this sort of manipulation with several other glares over here, which then you can do to try to make a... what is it? Mana reverie with a glare catalyst. But once again, you want to make sure this succeeds, because if it does not, then you're stuck with just a mana rev. And that's how you get the, what is it, Fodder 2. Now, Fodder 3 and 4, once again, if you haven't seen the video talk about how to go about making the returner abilities or getting it from a grade 1 to a 5, pretty much looked at that video. That explains how to do the crack ability as well. Your goal, though, is to try to get the crack abilities to a grade 3. You will need to get one of these glares with a crack 3, and this ultimately depends on how you want to manipulate this as well. Maybe you don't want to use all fodder pieces slots. I did use all my fodder pieces slot. So to get to this one, for example, fodder 3, when it comes to this sort of manipulation, pretty much you'll need to combine, what is it? When you start building up the different crack grades, when you get to 2, you want to also try to gamble with a Exocore glare and get now you can do this at a 2 slot and risk it, or like try to up slot to a 3 slot. For me, I was working with like 3 slots though, so the percentage wasn't bad at all. You're dealing with something like this, 40%, but with a 15% boost, it's all at 100, so it's not as bad. The only thing is trying to get this to have a glare catalyst with a crack 4, and then that. With a 50% though, these percentages aren't as bad, except that glare catalyst is still atrocious looking. But at the very least, you have a higher chance with the crack 5. And that is how you go about getting Fodder 3 and 4. Fodder 5, I don't need to explain it as much, because when it comes to the soul receptor and factor receptor being as one unit, it's a natural drop from PSO2 ES as it is. You can't really manipulate it. You can't toy around with receptors and transfer it over to something else. So you're pretty much set if you got everything. But the problem is that Fodder 1. Now, once again, I did a screw up because I didn't think it out entirely, and I had to remake the mana rev. If I was smart about it, and if I actually wrote it down in a Affix simulator or something, I did a correct breakdown, then I would have realized the slight mistake of mine, especially the fact that you had to finalize these absolute glares as the factor Astral Soul and what is it? Mana rev to actually go for a Guardian Soul. Yeah, that was on me. That kind of increased the cost that I did for this entire unit. Like, it cost me 400 mil to make this unit, but if I was smart about it, I could have saved a good maybe 50 mil from this. Or not 50 mil, but anyways, yeah. This thing, I had to fix it. So what I originally had for that particular unit piece, and I had a Doom Break 2. Now, I didn't care about Doom Break 2. Don't get me wrong, it is nice, but it's not suiting my style, or it's not emphasizing on the other multipliers that I want to emphasize on, so I didn't mind getting rid of it. Then, guess what? I had to have a Soul Receptor, Factor, and then a Junk. Then I pretty much have a bunch of fodder pieces to try to go for Absolute Glare as well. Nope, not that. It was Glare Catalysts. And I think I realized my mistake. I had to do something very specific though. What was it? I don't remember if I did put a glare no, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I can't remember what I did exactly in my video. I know I had a bunch of these again. Oh wait, no, I think I know what I did. Cause I had to do something like this, I think. I purposely got rid of that mana rev. Cause I had a bunch of these, Alright, so let me copy this and explain myself. So I think I did something like this. So I had something like this. And I decided to get all of these to... I gambled with this, and I think I used a protection, a force slot protection to make sure that this succeed, which then led to this particular piece over here. And then I was able to go for Astral Soul at the factor. And then I was using a... Why is it only at 2? Okay, hold up. And then I was using a force slot protection to push it to have crack 4. And I used a 40%. So yeah, that was the problem with me. Like, I didn't plan it out properly. I didn't think that I need to finalize it. And then I spent a bit extra to do this sort of thing. I will have this in the description below if you want to stare at this and you will want to toy around with it. I will have a separate video making it a bit easier to approach Guardian. So this is just me showing you guys the particular formula that I had to do so I can make the thing, the unit piece that I did. But yeah, it's like, looking back at it now, I did a lot of mistakes. The big one was the fact that I had to remake Mana Rev. You don't want to try to remake Mana Rev unless you are purposely getting it. With the mission pass existent over here in the Japanese PSO2, there's an easy way to easily slap that on to this sort of endgame affix. Like Guardian Soul, Artifact, Absolute Glare, Crack 5. Now you can slap a Mana Rev pop item when you do an ability transfer process, so you can get those 5 easily. You don't need to really worry about trying to make it, unless you want to try to make it. The problem is there's no pop item for Absolute Glare, so I would say get Absolute Glare compared to Mana Rev. But that's up to you. If you want to get it, that's your call, that's your discretion, that's your money. If you have any questions, comment, concerns, put it down below. That's it for this video. This is showing my formula that I had to deal with and the things that I had to toy around with. Just looking at this, yeah, I waste a couple bits of millions of meseta here and there, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure you ensure this finalization. There will be a video showing easier approach to making Guardian, so this is just the one that I had to deal with just because of the fuckery that I did. I'll see you guys in the next video though. Peace.